Hey everyone. So it looks like Phillies are eliminated. And it looks like they're not gonna be the chosen ones to win the World Series this year. Um so we did call we took Phillies from our future to win the World Series this year because of the presidential election. And that's what it seems like that's not the ritual due to the fact that Pete Rose from the Phillies died at the age of 83, who is known as a gambler. And it looks like this could be a gambling ritual, which has nothing to do with the Phillies. Because the Phillies, I was looking into a presidential election ritual to connect to who was going to win as president, Trump or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. But Joe Biden dropped out the race. And I guess that would eliminate the Phillies because if Joe Biden was eliminated from the race as well. Basically dropped out. And it looks like the Mets are moving on. I recall that the MLB just tweeted out saying whoever beats the Brewers goes to the World Series. So the New York Mets will probably go to the World Series to face whoever in the American League. After I did my research about who I think it might be the World Series matchup, this is going to be my personal opinion and the way I decoded it. I would not be surprised if the World Series ends up being Detroit Tigers versus the New York Mets. And here's why. They're both orange teams. And Trump is also orange. Orange also equals 33. Orange also equals 60. We're in the 60th presidential election. I still believe this ritual could still be about the presidential election, but there's also a gambling ritual going on as well. So I could be wrong that it might be Detroit Tigers versus New York Mets. But Detroit Tigers versus New York Mets makes a lot of sense because they're both orange teams. And orange is like Donald Trump is orange. And we're looking into the 47th president that's coming up in 2025. So the Detroit Tigers are 4-7 in the World Series all time right now. They have 4 wins, 7 losses, which equals 47, like the 47 president. The New York Mets are 2 wins, 3 losses, where they could go 2-4 in the World Series all time, like 89 is the 24th prime number, like in the season of 2024. So I'm thinking as my second matchup, and I know I cannot make up a second matchup or a second chance because I have to do it one time only, and I chose the Phillies, and I made that mistake with the Phillies. I thought it was going to be a presidential election ritual because of the Phillies, but it looks like they're changing it up, making it being Detroit Tigers versus New York Mets, and that makes a lot of sense because they're both orange teams, and Donald J. Trump is orange himself, like orange equals 33, and orange equals 60, like I said, like the 60th presidential election that's happening right now. And it makes sense for 2 orange teams to go against each other. That would be the signal that Donald J. Trump becomes the 47th president of the United States. Again, if it doesn't come down to being Tiger versus Mets, and it comes down being Dodgers in the World Series, that would have to do with the gambling ritual. And who would pick for Dodgers? Royals versus Dodgers. And I'm going to hear me out on why on this. The Royals makes sense to go against the Dodgers for the World Series due to Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson played for both teams, the Kansas City Monarchs and the Brooklyn Dodgers. And that would make sense for a Jackie Robinson ritual. But I don't think this is a Jackie Robinson ritual. I think this has to do with the presidential election ritual still. But I could also be wrong. It could be a gambling ritual where the Dodgers will lose the World Series because one of their players was gambling. And the Royals could win the World Series, going 3-2 in the World Series like Kansas City equals 32, beating the Dodgers where Jackie Robinson played his first team, which was the Kansas City Monarchs. Also, the 120th World Series, like the eclipse equals 120. The eclipse happened on April 8th, 2024. The Kansas City Royals were founded on April 8th. I missed that because I don't want to be biased, because I'm from Kansas City. I did not want to take the Royals this year because I didn't see any connections with the Royals. But I also missed a connection that the Royals were founded on April 8th, and that's the day of the eclipse that happened. And the eclipse equals 120. This is the 120th World Series. The Royals could win the 120th World Series because of the eclipse if they're going to continue to do the eclipse ritual. So there's 3 rituals we're looking at right now, and that's what probably made this World Series very difficult. But my number one matchup right now is literally Tigers versus Mets. I'd rather choose Tigers versus Mets over Royals versus Dodgers. But if it ends up being Royals versus Dodgers, I have the Royals winning that. Just because the Dodgers went through a humiliation ritual, and I do not see them winning it. So, my top matchup right now, since Phillies lost, I choose Tigers versus Mets in the World Series. Because they're both orange teams, and it makes a lot of sense for Donald J. Trump becoming the 47th president. Again, if I get that wrong too, I'm looking at Royals versus Dodgers. That's what I'm looking at. But we'll have to see. I'm going to let this play out. So, see you guys in the next one.